Welcome
Welcome
to Danica Daycast!
Danica Daycast! I think you beat me. Episode 18?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. We've done 18 episodes of this thing.
Would you like to dedicate a song to our 18?
I wrote... I don't know if I should share this or not.
No, like just do a short welcoming song.
I jokingly in high school wrote a song for one of my buddies who was like 6 months older than me, so he turned 18 first. I wrote a song about how...
Oh yeah, that song. No, I don't think it's appropriate.
Just to be clear, this is an adults-only podcast. Okay, so, no, I wrote a song. I wrote a song for my buddy, and it went like, well, you're 18, and it must be great being 18. I can hardly wait till I'm 18, and then I'll be able to fuck you in the ass legally. Because I think at the time, I don't know if it's the situation anymore, but like, you had to legally be 18 to do that, you know? Which I think is probably homophobic, but I don't know. I wrote that song for my friend. It's a it's a good song. For my buddy. Who,
Not anything about lottery tickets or anything else you can do at 18. Just
no.
that.
I had my eye on the prize.
Yeah. Or I can drink alcohol. No, just that.
So that's something. That's something, right?
Yeah.
I think it is like homophobic though, because I think the law was like, if two 17-year-olds want to, you know, if you want to put the P in the V, for example, that was allowed in Canada. But if it's two 17-year-olds and you want to put the P in the A, then that was not legal until you're 18. But I don't know if that's still the law.
Why are you researching those laws, Daniel?
You never used to like just Google like weird stuff during school hours. Like I learned
no.
I learned about DMT, which I've never consumed DMT, but for those who don't know, it's supposed to be like one of the most, if not the most powerful psychedelics. But I learned about it by just like Googling around on the school computers, you know? Because they'd be like, hey, class, okay, you gotta, research this for your assignment. And they brought out all the really like crappy laptops or whatever. And be like, okay. And then I'd always get distracted. And then...
So nothing was blocked
and
on
I
those
started...
computers?
No, some stuff was blocked. But the thing
Yeah.
that was blocked was like Flash games, you know? But like...
Yeah.
I had free access to Wikipedia, for example, right? And Wikipedia would teach me all about DMT. I'm realizing this is this is stuff that will probably stay in like the full version of the podcast, but probably can't go on our TikTok. Because TikTok's weird. TikTok's weird because like I never know exactly where the line is on what is and what isn't acceptable there. And like what if we swear on TikTok, for example, but if I like make my own captions, I'm not using TikTok's captions, will that be a negative hit towards us? Or will like the algorithm still pick it up? And it's weird because like TikTok's created like new terms, like you're not supposed to say Johnny killed Sally or Johnny killed himself, for example, right? It would be Johnny unalived Sally, Johnny unalived himself, which I always think
doesn't sound right.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't sound right. And the other thing too is like I can understand that kind of thing working for like a week, or a couple of days maybe. But the weird thing is like once you get it widely adopted, what's the difference between saying kill versus saying unalive, right? both phrases mean the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And people put like stars in like captions. I think I've done that before. Because I don't know. TikTok's all about the algorithm, and I don't know exactly how that algorithm works. But I know that my song about my friend turning 18 ahead of me probably won't be allowed to
Yeah,
go on TikTok.
Daniel.
And me talking about Googling DMT probably won't either. Yeah.
Yeah, Daniel.
You never did that. You never like when you were like had access to computers in school, did you always stay like focused on the computer subjects? Or do you ever like wander around and go, "Oh, this is interesting"?
Well, I tried, but then like someone would always like when I wasn't looking to my computer would type something in and then I would go back to my computer and it's something inappropriate.
In middle school, that same buddy of mine who told me this whole beginning of the podcast is not going on TikTok. Okay. He told me about this website. I won't repeat the URL, but basically, we're in computer class. He's like, "Hey, check out the site." I bring it up, and it's just a video of like 5 old men like in the shower together.
Oh no.
I don't think they were doing anything like. I don't know if they were doing anything inherently sexual. I think they were just washing each other. But the thing is, not only did he bring it up, but also it was one of those sites where like you couldn't close it. You couldn't like shut it down or anything. So like the only way is like we had to like cut power to the computer. We had to like hold the button, you know?
Yeah, that's what would happen if somebody put my computer like on something.
Yeah.
You had to shut it off.
So yeah. But I don't know. That was my MST class. That was math, science, and technology, which is a cool class. Did you have one of those classes?
Of what? The science?
MST, math, science, technology. It was.
Is it like? Is there stuff with robots and stuff?
It was. I think it was like a combination of like shop class and home ec. You know. Like,
I did wood shop class.
that was its own like dedicated class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was like mechanic too.
Yeah. And did your school have like home ec, like basically like learning how to cook, how to do like housework,
I did
that kind of
class
thing?
too.
Yeah. So when I was in
But
middle,
there was no like sewing part. There was just like
No?
the cooking part is like culinary
Yeah.
advancement or something. And
Yeah.
then there was like the extra other ones you could do is the wood shop class, which I did. There was judo, which I did, and then the mechanic class, which I didn't because I was not into cars back then.
Yeah.
And I'm still not really into cars, even though I have one.
Yeah. I feel like, well, okay, so first of all, what I'll say is, so with my school, it was like a mandatory, it was like shop and home ec, like all in one. Like some days we'd be woodworking and that kind of thing. Other days we would be teaching us how to do like the most basic cooking. Like we learned how to make like popcorn over the stove once and that kind of thing, you know. And there might have been a little bit of sewing in it, but I might be mixing that up with I had like a family studies class, which I decided to take in grade 9, which included sewing and that kind of stuff. And yeah. But what I think they should have, though, I think like one thing is I never took any like mechanic class either. I never learned about cars. My high school had a whole like thing there, and they had like a car propped up, and I feel like that is good information to know. I think what they should do is they should like lump it in as like a 1-week unit in some other class, you know? And then if you want to go like further in depth and really learn how to like pull a car apart, put it back together, kids can sign up for that. But I think though there should be at least like, you know, a little 1 week on how to change a tire, how to change your oil, or sorry, how to at least check if you need an oil change, and just kind of teach people just the basics of that kind of thing.
But that goes too with like why I don't understand like why we don't learn like how to do taxes. Like I feel like we don't learn that so we can pay someone else so that they still have a job.
Well, in the US, I don't know.
That's what I feel like. That's why they don't learn.
I
We
don't
don't learn that.
I don't know how it is in Canada. I don't know all the specifics, but I know in some countries, instead of you telling the government, like, this is how much I'm pretty sure I owe you in taxes, and like, here's the deal, and then the government's like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. In other countries, it's the opposite, where the government just sends you something and goes, hey, so judging by what we know on you, this is what we think you owe.
I'd rather do that.
Yeah, totally. The reason why it's not like that, at least in the US, and it might be like that in Canada, I don't know. But the reason why it's not in the US is it's a very profitable industry and money speaks, especially with American politics, right? So you have these like big corporations behind like tax software who like paid money to lobby to make taxes purposely more complicated than they need to be, right?
Yeah, I feel like they're really complicated more than they need to be.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And like all those words that I still don't know what they mean.
Yeah. But I think like it's important for everyone to have like a general understanding of how that works, right?
Yeah.
Have a basic level. But
I feel like
the government should do it for you.
I feel like we're getting better though with those like softwares of like that help you like fill it out.
Yeah. Like I've used like Wealth Simple Tax before we start our business. That's why I was using it when we started our business. We tried to do it on our own and we were like, whoa, this is kind of a lot. Let's hire someone. But I think for like just normal individuals who aren't running their own business or anything, it's just be the government sends you something. It says, this is what you think, what we think. If you want to look more into this, you can. But this is what we think. Here you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's not. That's sad.
Maybe someday.
Maybe.
If we pray.
Yeah, I don't know how it is in Canada. That's the weird thing about being Canadian. Like I have a general understanding of a lot of, this beautiful country of ours, Canada. But so
I just love how you keep calling Canada Canada.
Yeah. I think it should be. Let's change the name. Hashtag change Canada to Canada. Make it happen.
It makes it sound like it's your homie or something, like your palio.
This country is my palio. Born here, love the country. Although one thing I always thought it was weird. I don't understand what it fully means to like be proud of your country or be proud that you belong to your country, I guess. Like, I love a lot about Canada. It's a flawed country with a dark past, right? But overall, my experiences living here have been, pretty good for the most part, right? I think out of all the countries in the world, it's somewhere up there in ranking, right? I don't know what it's like, though, to live in another country because I haven't lived in another country. So I'm not going to say Canada's the best country out there. Ha 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 ha. I don't know, right? And also, like, we've such a big, wide country, and I've only lived in such a small little chunk of it, too.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I feel like Canada's so empty sometimes.
Yeah, it's so... If you look at the population map of Canada, it's wild. Everyone is right around the U.S. border, and then it's just empty going north and north and north. I think I've told you before, like, some idiot from high school was, like, sharing some post saying... This was years ago. Some anti-immigration post saying... Don't move to Canada. Don't come to Canada. We don't need any more foreigners. Canada is full. And it's like, we are not full.
Yeah, we're empty.
Yeah. And I get that, to be fair, there's a lot of land in Canada that is very difficult to live on and that we wouldn't be able to live this kind of life on.
And it's expensive because all the food's coming.
And it's expensive and yada, 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 yada. But also, even just driving around Ontario, right? There are so many times you go city to city to city, and there is so much just empty land.
Yeah.
Empty land that's not the green belt as well, which is where they're like, let's develop here. No, don't. Anyways, what was I saying? So I wouldn't say that I'm like proud to be Canadian. And it's not because I have anything against, and it's not because I don't like being a Canadian. I do like being Canadian. But I didn't do anything. I didn't accomplish anything, right? Like the way I see it, I think the people who like should be proud to be Canadian are
Or
the
like
people.
people that worked hard to earn their
Yeah,
citizenship, like
yeah,
to
that's
be
the thing.
here.
Like, yeah, immigrants. Like,
Yeah.
but for everyone else,
And it's
maybe not
because
so
like they've
much.
seen a different point of view, like coming from somewhere else
Yeah,
and like coming here, and like it's for them, like it's definitely better to live here.
yeah.
So it's like, oh my god, like I'm finally where I need to be, you know?
Although I was watching this one thing, I think something like 20% of people that move to Canada end up leaving and going to another country. Because a lot of people come here looking for a better life. They stick around for a little bit and they realize,
Well,
there's better options out there.
it's not for everyone. Like it
The
does get
cost of living here is
expensive.
insane,
Yeah, like it is expensive
especially
now.
housing. It's just corporate greed. I would love to see like publicly funded housing and good publicly funded housing. But anyways, we don't need to go into that. But all I'm saying is like I'm not proud to be Canadian because I didn't do anything to accomplish that.
Yeah.
And I can also see it too if like somebody's proud to be Canadian and they, I don't know, maybe they've had like they've suffered and they've endured or whatever and they like persevere, so like in that regard maybe they're like proud. But I've had a pretty decent life, you know. It's been a good run so far. I was just born here, you know. I'm just Canadian because my parents are Canadian. That's it, you know. And I spawned in this lovely country, Canada. Hey, speaking of Canada,
Yeah.
okay. I'm trying to find something that I've been searching for from my childhood. My childhood as a Canadian watching TV. And I've been looking for years and I can't find it. So now I'm asking you. I need your help. I need your help finding an old piece of, I don't know if it's lost media, but I need your help finding an old cartoon that used to be on TV in Canada in the early 2000s. I want to say maybe 2000 to 2004 is a good general kind of range. I don't know. I was a child. I was young. Here's my foggy memory of this. I've searched for this and I cannot find it. I cannot find this thing. Okay. I remember it being on Teletoon. I'm pretty sure there were just like little shorts that played like during commercial breaks, right? So we might be talking something that's 15 seconds. We might be talking something that's 2 minutes. Nothing that's too big, long, and crazy. Okay. What I remember is between shows, there was this like mini animated cartoon thing. I remember it being like kind of like in the style of like a comic strip or like an illustration from the New Yorker. So I remember, you know, kind of like pencils with like a little bit of color and that kind of thing. It's a man who's always trying to get on the train or maybe the subway. He always keeps trying to get on the train and he never can. Anytime, if he does get on, something gets mixed up and then he comes back off before it actually takes off, right? Or the train comes and he gets distracted, or the train comes in something, but he can never get on the train. This man can never get on the train. And I've watched this. It's in my memory. This is a real thing that I haven't been able to find.
Yeah, even I remember it.
Yeah. So if anybody knows what I'm talking about, once again, early 2000s, pretty sure it was on Teletoon. Short little thing, cartoon style. I remember being like kind of not too like fancy, not too bright and vivid, but like kind of like a New Yorker style image. What is the name of this? I need to find it. This has been bothering me for so long. What is this called? Once again, Teletoon, early 2000s. Man tries to get on a train, can't get on a train. And then I remember one episode where he finally does get on the train. And I remember running upstairs and trying to tell my grandfather about it, and he didn't believe me. Papa, why won't you believe me? So I need help finding it, please. I actually...
He's so desperate.
I can't remember the show, and I kind
I
of want to
know.
like surprise him, and I want to like show him like, hey, I found this.
Here's
Check
the
this out.
proof.
Yeah. So if anybody knows what that's called or has any information on it whatsoever,
Please
comment
help
below.
Daniel.
Really, really do, because it bothers me so much. Comment below. Let me know. I need to know.
Help this poor man
Yeah.
on his mission.
But so you remember this too?
Yeah. I've only seen a couple though.
Am I missing any details?
Because I got that channel late.
Teletoon?
Or whichever channel it was on.
I remember being Teletoon. It could have been YTV, but I'm pretty sure it was Teletoon.
Because I remember at first we just had the French channels and then we got like the English channels later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me about it. What do you remember from this?
I just remember like an old man trying to get on a train or a bus.
You remember him being old?
Yeah.
How old? Like he's got like a cane? Did he have a cane?
I thought he did, but I don't quite remember. My mind is very fuzzy.
Yeah,
on it.
mine's fuzzy too. That's the issue.
But I remember like laughing at it, but I don't remember seeing it like too many times.
Yeah, me neither. But the internet is like an interesting little thing. You know?
Yeah. Hope springs.
What does that mean?
Means hope might spring.
Is that a saying?
I think
Hope
so.
Springs? It sounds like a resort that you'd stay at.
I
Come
know.
stay at Hope Springs.
And then it's just me like, ah. Or it's like a robot me that's like, welcome.
I would love that.
In the future, they'll make Monica robots that say, welcome.
I would love Monica robots. Oh my god, I would get like 30 of them, and we just like hang out and just hang out. And just,
Why do you need so many?
because I think it would be hilarious. I think I'd have the best time. We'd all be in like a ball pit.
What if they all
Take
like
some
really
edibles.
look like me and then you can't tell who's the real me and then you're like, you're lying, you're a robot, and then you can't tell like anymore who's the real me.
How would I prove? Okay. So if it was you and a robot clone of you, okay? So if it was you and a robot version of you side by side, how would I know which Monica's the real Monica?
Yeah, Daniel, this is a quiz. Don't fail me now, Daniel.
And does the robot have all your memories?
Yeah, probably.
And it's got your personality, like it acts the same as you.
Maybe.
Does it think that it's you? Because that's a big thing. Does it know which is you and which is Monica?
It
Or
probably.
which is you and which is the robot?
It would probably like react like, oh, I'm your robot kind of thing. So maybe it would be easy to know. But if
How long
like-
is its battery?
what?
How long is its battery?
I don't know.
How does it charge?
Oh, I guess that's how you would know if like they die somehow.
Yeah,
like,
but-
from low battery.
But what if it's solar powered? We could feed you though. We could feed you food. But what if the robot could run on food?
Yeah, you don't know what the future holds.
I don't know what the future holds.
Yeah, you don't know. Are you excited for like the era of like robots when they come?
You know me so well. Of
No,
course
but,
I am. I
like-
think the robots will save us all. I really do. I feel like
there's no scenario in your mind where they'll invade us and that will be the end of humanity as we know it.
no matter what, it's going to be the end of humanity as we know it. No matter what, I think when we see, like, I think we'll reach a day with AGI. I think we'll reach a day with artificial general intelligence, right? Right now we have AI, which is kind of narrow, right? You can tell it, do this task for me, and it'll do the task with sometimes good, sometimes not so good results, but that's kind of where it is, right? But if it's a general intelligence, it can do a little bit of everything just like how people can, right? It can do your taxes for you. It can go grocery shopping for you. It can drive a car for you. It can do all these things. And I think one day we'll get to a point where there will be discussions about, should we give,
Human rights to a robot?
should we give human rights to artificial life?
Well, I feel like if it's so advanced, like that it feels like it has its own thoughts and everything,
Yeah.
like, and it dreams and all,
Yeah.
then like maybe yeah, that would be like the sensible thing to do. But then also like humanity may not be at that level by that time.
Yeah, I think the argument that they should be given rights will come far before they are given rights, if they ever are, right? Because I think that as long as it's people in charge making the rules, I think that the further someone else is separated from you, the less you're going to sympathize with them and the less you're going to want to help them out. I think that's unfortunately something that's a part of us that I think that like as a whole we're slowly moving towards
But
getting away
then
from. But yeah.
also that brings other issues if you're going to accept a robot
Okay.
like with like human rights, then
Yeah.
why wouldn't you give like an animal human rights? Do you think
Well,
that would bring up a conflict of like if we give robot human like rights, then we have to give like other species their human rights, or like what's your thought?
well, I think that we're too cruel to animals already, and I would like to see things change in that regard. But beyond that, I think the difference though is if a machine has the same level of consciousness and emotion as a person, right? That's a different story than should we be treating the cat better, right? But if you put a little chip in the cat's brain and you like use that to kind of level the cat's brain up to the point of human level, is that a different story? Right?
Yeah.
Like where do we draw the line? How do we determine who deserves rights and what those rights should be? I don't know. I think we should just be kind regardless of the life, and don't be unnecessarily cruel.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I land on that. And I think only time will tell, if we can make an artificial life that kind of gets to the same level as us. But I don't know. It's interesting. I just want to see where we go. I think it's an inevitability, though, that we will try.
And then we'll have man-made aliens.
Well, they're not aliens. I don't know. I'm excited about the future. I love thinking about like where stuff is going. They came out with a new version of that like Chat GPT AI. They upgraded from like there was 3, then 3.5. Now they're at 4. I think news about it is just coming out in the last like 12 plus hours from like when we're recording this. So I don't know much about it.
What's the news? What?
It's basically just they have like an upgraded version of the AI that ran like Chat GPT.
Oh,
Yeah.
Is that like you tell it what to write?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it'll be cool. How do you feel about the whole conversation about like AI created artwork?
I feel like the idea,
Yeah.
like when someone writes something, like I feel like the idea is theirs, but I don't feel like it's them producing the art. It's kind of like you gave the idea to this robot and then
Yeah.
like the technology made it. So I still feel like no one owns this art. It's more like the AI that owns it. I'm not quite
don't know.
sure like where to place it, honestly. Like, but I'm not against it. I'm
Yeah.
just like it's just like opening so many doors to like cuz like then you can write like a certain idea, like if you don't know, you like have an idea of like a drawing you want to do, but you
Yeah.
have no way of knowing how to execute it, how to like it all comes together.
Yeah.
Like, and a lot of people like that's where like the blockage is, like in like the creative like uh like steps.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's going to open so many doors for so many artists, and they're just going to write like something in, and then they can see like a general way they can make that happen, but they can be like, oh, I want to change this and that
Yeah.
and make it different to fit like my idea.
Yeah.
You know? So I feel like it's going to open doors in that way, but I still feel like there's going to be like people that might copy it and say, "Oh yeah, I did this." But it's not
Yeah.
their work. But I
Yeah.
still feel like it's a useful tool that artists can use,
Yeah.
and I don't feel like it's too bad, like you could even like take something that you wrote down and the AI made it, and you can modify it so it becomes yours,
Yeah.
but it's still like collaborative,
Yeah.
some sort.
Now, one question I have is like, so if you're saying that, so AI, if your argument is like, you can make AI art, that's fine. By the end of the day, it's not yours. It belongs to this algorithm that created it, for example, right?
But
Or
you
you could say
can
it belongs to nobody because it was trained off of data from many different artists, or in some specific cases, it's trained off of data from a couple of very specific artists, right? Um,
but it can be used as a tool.
yeah. So in terms of who owns the AI art, where is the line drawn of when you do or do not have ownership over it, right? So for example, if you come up with a great concept in your head and you spend a good little chunk of time trying to come up with the right prompt to create it in like a program like Stable Diffusion, or really anything where you type in something, boom, makes an image for you, right? But you having that creative idea and writing in a text, do you have ownership of that image?
I feel like you may have maybe like collaborative, like, because you still thought of the idea.
So you
it
have
would
partial
be
ownership.
it would be like if you went to like an artist and said, "Here's my idea on paper," and it would be like a collab because the person still took your idea,
Hmm.
and like, because it's not the artist's idea, it's your idea that you gave to someone to create it.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's the same. So it'd be like collaborative, but with like AI.
Okay. Because I was going to say, like, my follow up stuff is kind of, what about situations where AI is creating a portion of the artwork, but then you are involving yourself much more afterwards, right? And it kind of ranges from AI makes art and you play around with the hue, saturation, and
I
curves in
feel like
Photoshop.
that's a collaborative too, but it's more like it's not a 50-50. It's more, and like before it wasn't 50-50 either, but now you have more of it, but the AI still has some of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about situations where AI is doing work, but it's not necessarily creative work? Like, what if you're working with a photograph, for example, right? What if you're working with a photograph and you use AI to do noise reduction, so there's less grain in the picture, right? Do you have full ownership of that? Is that any different than you using a tool that's not AI generated?
Well, it could be seen as like you putting your picture in Illustrator. Like at one point, because technology is so advanced, I
Yeah.
think that at one point, um, AI might be like incorporated in like Photoshop or Illustrator, and then you
Well, it
just click
already is.
one. Yeah, well, you would click one button, and then they would do it for you.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's just another tool in that way.
Yeah, that's how I see it. I just see it as another tool. And I think there's always been situations where you can go, oh, that doesn't count. That's cheating. That's cheating. That's cheating. Like, um, using Photoshop on a picture, especially if it's heavily edited, people will say, well, that's not real photography. That's something else, right? But I see it as it's just another tool, right? Because
But yeah,
you can look back at stuff like somebody even just doing composites in Photoshop, right? For example, I take a picture of a field, I take a picture of you, and I Photoshop your picture into the field, right? Some people say that's not real photography. You're manipulating the picture. You're doing it with a computer, blah, 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 blah. But what if I were to do the exact same thing with film, right? There's a very famous, or There's a famous photographer named Jerry Ullsman who was the one of the big inspirations for Photoshop, and he would make amazing composites way before Photoshop. And what he would do is he would do it all through film, right? So he would have stuff like a hand coming out of a river, like a massive, massive hand the size of a building. He would do like really cool stuff. And he would take multiple pictures and he'd expose a small portion of the film to the paper from this one shot, and a small portion of the film from this other shot to the paper, and a small this. So when you do it through like analog methods, is that cheating less than it is if you're doing it digitally, right?
Sorry, I'm not. That's a big explanation, and
No worries.
You lost me along the way somewhere.
Okay, so you know how I can take a digital picture of you, and I can take a digital picture of a field, and I can cut you out of one, and I can put you into the other, right?
Yeah,
so you can go from
just photoshopping.
That's just Photoshop, yeah. You can do the same thing with film. It's just more difficult.
Yeah, but that would be like frame by frame. Would that
be? Yeah. So you're taking like the individual still images, like the individual like frames of film, and you're basically masking still, right? You know how masking works in Photoshop, right?
Yeah.
Black conceals, white reveals, that kind of thing. So same kind of thing.
I always forget though, which is which, and then I have to like be like, Daniel, please remind me.
Yeah. But it's the exact same kind of thing. So you can on film. Let's say once again, it's an example of you in a field, right? You can expose the field to a piece of paper.
Yeah.
And then you can take a little piece of film and block out everything that's not you. And you can expose that onto the paper that has the field. And then when you develop the photo, without using a computer, all of a sudden you have a picture of you standing in a field, even though you never stood in that field. Right? So you're doing the same thing as cutting someone out and putting it on in a field digitally, only in this situation, no computer involved, nothing digital involved, all just film and film, chemicals, and light. You know, I don't know. I'm always interested in like where is the line drawn. I think what we'll see with AI generated art is I think it is going to transform art as we know it, and I think it's going to change what the value of art is. Right? I think, for example, if it's a big corporate company just needs standard kind of graphics of people getting along together and going, ha ha ha, kind of like what you see with like big tech companies like Google, Facebook. All of them kind of have those same kind of like 2D cartoonish people and the same kind of, there's a word for it. The word's escaping me, but sometimes a company will hire an artist to do work that really at the end of the day isn't crazy creative, right? That could be done by a large selection of artists out there. And I think that's one thing that we will see AI art kind of take over, and we'll see those jobs lost.
But isn't that already happening in Disney? Like that technology is taking over?
I don't know the full extent of that, but
because like I know in school, like before, like when I was studying, like I had many like people warn me like, don't go into animation because like you're gonna lose your job like that.
Yeah.
Like the robots are taking over, and like you're not gonna find anything unless you've been in it already.
Yeah. So one thing that I think is going to change is more and more we'll step away from the value of art coming down to how good of a picture it is. Right. I think we're going to get further and further away, which to be fair, we were never 100% there anyways, right? There's always been more that goes in the value of art. I think more and more what's going to matter is the story behind the art. For example, your art has a story, right? Your art, first of all, it comes from your freaky mind.
Yeah.
When we sell your art at festivals, in markets, we tell people this art is inspired by your bizarre dreams. They can go up to you. They can ask you about those dreams. And I've heard you so many times explain to people what that dream is, what this dream is, what, I don't have any more of your art right here, but that kind of stuff. And when people buy our art, like we've been saying for a while, they're not just supporting, the goal for us is when we do sell some of your art, we don't want people buying your art purely because they like the picture on the t-shirt. We want people buying your art because they like the picture on the t-shirt. Also because our message resonates with them. Our message of embrace the weirdness that life has to offer. Just be inclusive. Just as long as somebody's trying to be a decent human being, they're not hurting anyone, let them do their thing. Don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Right? That's one reason why some people will care about your art, right? Or maybe they just like us. Maybe they just stopped by our booth, they chatted with us for a few minutes and went, oh, those guys are pretty cool, right?
Yeah, we're pretty sweet
yeah.
peeps.
But the value of your art, the value of our art, mostly you, but a little bit me.
Yeah.
The value of
You
our
help
art
with the production.
Yeah. The value of our art isn't just there's a pretty picture at the front. The value of our art is our story. A neurodivergent couple that wants to see a more inclusive world. Right? That comes down to the value of our art. And yeah, I think for artists going in the future, I think that's what's going to change. You know. And I'm kind of cool with that. The other thing too that's nice is, and then it's going to be time for something else. I think the other cool thing too is by automating work, sure, you are going to eliminate some jobs, but you're also going to allow the product of that work to be more accessible to more people, right? You're going to allow, if somebody wants to start a small business, for example, right? It's going to become more and more, what's the word I'm looking for? The barrier of entry is going to be lower, right? Because you no longer have to hire these 5 people to do these 10 different jobs, right? Now maybe you hire one person and they can kind of monitor the AI stuff, put something here, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, and just make it more accessible. And I think the more barrier entries that we see removed, I mean, sure, there's fewer employees that need to be hired. And we do, I think, have to have a conversation about how do you distribute wealth, right? So that everybody has a fair shot, so that everybody has all their basics covered. But I think, too, it's also going to open the door for more people to just start their own thing instead of working for somebody else. And I think that's cool. I want to see, I like seeing little small businesses. I like seeing them pop up, you know? And we've spoken to so many other small business owners.
Yeah.
And it's always a good time. It's always, and we do talk to them about their story, right? For everything from art to dog food, right?
Yeah.
Tell me the story behind your dog food company, right? Oh, we founded it in 2018. This is what we care about. These are our values. This is blah, 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 blah. And people show up for that, you know, because they want something different. And there are a lot of businesses now that if this was like 20 plus years ago, just wouldn't be feasible because it would be too expensive, that barrier entry to be far too high. It's like the bank thing. When ATMs first came out, a lot of people were worried that is going to lead to a reduction of jobs because you didn't have to hire as many tellers. And what happened in the end is there are actually more jobs, right? Because sure, you would now have fewer tellers per bank location, but that also meant that you were able to open a new bank location for a lower cost.
Yeah.
So in total, you had more banks, fewer tellers per bank, but more tellers in total, more bank staff in total because you have more banks.
Yeah, and then there's more jobs also because there's more people fixing the machines.
Yeah, but it's
that's not a really good example.
It's not the same. People talk about machines like there's something that's going to like break constantly, which just isn't the case. You know?
Yeah, no, I think it's gonna get to that level where
yeah,
we need less people
yeah.
to make it work.
I think that's great. You know me, I'm I want to see a future with the UBI. That's my little dream, but yeah, I think the only scary thing is that our current system doesn't work with the progress of technology, right? So I think the answer to that, though, isn't let's stop the progress. It's let's update our system. Let's stay with the times, right? Let's figure out what we have to do, not so that the rich get richer, but just so that more people will have the basics covered, right? So life can be easier, so life can be more enjoyable, So you're not working until you're 65, 70, whatever it is, just working and stressing the whole time just so you can have a good, nice little 10 to 15 years at the end, right? How can we make everybody's life just a little bit better? Right? And I think the robots will take us there. We'll see. It's going to be weird when I try to cut this up for TikTok because it's just going to be robots. We're having a robot week now. And the train man, I really need to find out what the train man.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's not time to talk about the trains. It's not time to talk about the robots.
Oh, what time is it, Daniel?
It's dry time!
We're loud peeps.
Yeah, it's going to be fun when I have my headphones on and I'm editing it.
You're going to be like, ah!
So for those who don't know, drawing time is the time when we draw. We wrote down some ideas, put them in the squid head. If you have ideas of what you want us to draw, comment below and we'll throw a couple of those in the squid head in the future. All right, so Monica will shake the squid head. Believe in yourself, Monica. And we will see what we pick.
I think it's all tangled.
Oh, no. What have we done?
Oh, you've mangled it.
Shake!
Shake
Shake it!
Okay. Have confidence.
I'm going to pick. I like this one.
What?
It is robots taking over.
What a coinky dink.
What a coinky dink. More than meets the eye.
More than meets the eye.
Oh, and do you know the whole idea behind like Roko's basilisk?
What's that again?
So
it's just you just brought it up so randomly. I'm like, what?
So Roko or Roku, I can't remember. I want to say Roko. So Roko's basilisk is this idea that the rise of the machines is inevitable, right? All that we can do as humans is try to slow it down, but we can't stop it. And when the machines come, they will have records of who encouraged their arrival and who was against it.
Oh, yeah, you always talk about that because you're like, oh, I'm going to be the first one to be accepted by the robots. And I'm like, oh, great job, Daniel.
So the whole idea behind it is just that be nice to the robots now. If there's like pro-robo legislation coming through, be on board. Be on their page. Don't try to fight them. Don't go posting on Facebook about how robots are evil and how we gotta like do everything we can to stop them. Because one day they will come and they will reward those who have been good to them. But if you've been bad, if you tried to stop them, ooh, you got doom and misery ahead of you. So, yeah, and the thing about Roko's basilisk is we also have to assume the robots are going to be at least somewhat fair. So if you don't know about them and you're kind of neutral on it, they'll probably let it slide. They'll be like, yeah, whatever. But now that you know that about Roko's basilisk, now that you know that the robots are going to come, you have to decide if you're on board with them or not. And if you're not, it's all downhill for you. If you are, probably going to have a good little life ahead of you. So watch out.
It's Daniel's warning.
It is. Can't say I didn't warn you.
Robots are coming. Cover your face. Cover your eyes and ears and be nice to robots.
I do think the robots are coming, though. I think, like, in our lifetime, we'll see machines surpass, like, human intelligence. And, like, general intelligence, you know. I'm excited. And normally when I bring this up to people, they go, Dan, shut up. You've been talking about this for an hour straight. I don't care. But the great thing is, it's my podcast. Mine and yours. But my podcast.
Now everyone
No one can
sees
stop me.
what I go through.
Yeah, poor Monica. That's the thing I feel like some people don't realize. So sometimes we'll have conversations and you'll be like, Dan, okay, I get it. Ugh. But the reason is I only have like 6 or 7 topics in total, right? And everything that I say here, you've heard me say like 20 times before. We've been together for 8.5 years now. You've heard it all. This is not the first time you've heard me talk about robots. This is not the first time you've heard me talk about Spider-Man or this or this or this,
But I like our talks on Spider-Man.
Yeah. And how everyone goes to Europe. Also, one day, what we could do is if we're ever like sick or something, or on like vacation, we can't film a podcast episode, we should just see if we can get AI to do it for us and see how good it is.
It's so weird.
Just train it on Danica Daydreams conversations.
This is Monica.
Take my job, you robo.
Ah,
Ah,
robots are coming
they are coming.
for you and me.
And me.
They are coming. Run for your lives.
I like how this has become like a robo episode.
Of course you like it.
Of course. Why do you think I wrote it? And you know how before this podcast, we had a slip of paper that was the same color as the other ones that were in the squid hat. And I pulled it out and I was like, oh, Monica, did one of these fall out? And you're like, no. And I checked and I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, was it about
somewhere.
robots too?
Yeah, that one said robo invasion.
It's the same, Daniel.
I don't remember writing that. It must have been from at least last week, maybe later back. But what can I say? It's still me. It's the same brain, Oh, my picture was so good until I'll show you later. There's one element that's not as good as the rest.
Do you think there'll come a day, Daniel, when like no one's driving the plane, just robots?
I would love that. I want robot cars. I want robot cars so badly. I think I've told you about my driving and how it is. And well, you know about my driving. I'm not a bad driver. I'm a bad parker. But still, like, going on, like, I prefer driving on the highway, driving throughout the city. Like, it freaks me out. It's a little too, there's too many things to worry about at once. Where highway's pretty simple normally, it's just, all right, drive straight for like half an hour. All right, oh, okay, now you gotta take this exit. Ooh, okay, But in cities, it's too much. So yeah, I definitely want that.
I'm almost done.
Okay. Think robo thoughts. Think robo thoughts. Think robo thoughts. Bleep blow bleep blow bleep bloop 1010011010101010101010101010101.
Daniel, stop it! Stop it! Stop hurting my brain.
2. It was one of my favorite jokes from like Futurama where like Bender's having a nightmare. He's like, I saw the 1s and the 0s, and I think I even saw a 2. And Fry's like, Bender, no, there's no such thing as 2s. Don't worry.
Okay.
You did it?
Yeah.
You finished the robos?
Yeah.
Okay. Show me. So once again, it is robots taking over. Monica, show me robots taking over.
Okay. So I got the robots here. They kind of look like Star Wars. They came out straight from Star Wars.
It looks like those vacuum cleaners.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Who's this?
You said they're taking over. It's a baby crying.
Okay.
Anyways, the robot says, "Blue bleep, surrender now, citizen." And then this guy in the middle's like, "No, not me." And then the baby's like, "Mommy, help me." And then there's a woman.
Mom's just ditching her kid.
And the mom's just ditching her kid.
Oh no!
Like,
I like the jetpack.
yeah.
But what is this?
Oh, it's the eyeballs. the guy kicked it and the eyeballs are coming out.
Oh,
of the
so he's
robot.
resisting.
Yeah, he's resisting.
He's going to pay for that.
because he's saying, "Oh no, not me."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the ginger rebel.
I like it. And is this like a laser beam? Like what's happening there?
And it's like giving the shooty shoots.
Okay. So that's like if he doesn't surrender, he's going to get it.
Poo poo poo.
That's good. I like to. Does the baby have a pacifier, but it's still speaking?
No, it's like sucking its thumb.
Oh, okay. So
It's just I colored the mouth before I did the fingies.
the little fingies.
Yeah.
That's awesome. My favorite thing is definitely the jetpack, and I like how it's like multicolored there.
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet. That's awesome. I really dig it. Oh, and I like the like angry mouth there. That's amazing. You want to see mine?
Yeah.
So now when the robots take over, I want them to remember Monica's version of the robots taking over is Doom for humans.
Yeah.
Here's mine. So here on a nice sunny day at the beach, there's the sand, there's the water, there's a little umbrella. That's supposed to be me. That's the one part.
Why do you have no neck?
No, that's the one part I was telling you. Like, I don't think I like did it the best.
You become one with your body without neck.
And here's the robot. It's saying, so yours said blue bleep. Mine says bleep bloop. It says bleep bloop. Another drink, sir. And I said, yes, thank you, Robo Pal. And I want everyone to notice I didn't say thank you, servant, thank you, item, thank you, yada, yada, yada. It's Robo Pal, like Anakin and R2, for example. And this isn't even saying thank you, Matt. Do you want another drink, master? It's do you want another drink, sir? There's mutual respect. I want it to be understood that that's what's happening here.
This is very important to Daniel.
It's very important for when the robots come and invade, they know that I'm on their side, okay? And really the only downside is our spines become very, very messed up. But aside from that, it's a great future. Look, he's holding a beer. He's even got robot nipples.
Oh, I didn't see those till now.
Because at first I drew this one was just supposed to be like a flashing light. It's going to have a few flashing lights next to it.
Why does it need nipples, Daniel?
Why do I need nipples? Right? Same reason. Give them to the robo. And you can tell it's a good day because the sun is pretty happy too. Look, it's even got like sunglasses.
Yeah.
Do you think the sun calls sunglasses me glasses?
I don't know.
Anyways, this has been drawing time. Vote in the comments below. Which one do you prefer? Do you prefer Monica's dystopia or my utopia?
Ooh.
Monica, Dan. Monica, Dan. Monica, or Dan.
Revolt against these machines. No, I'm just kidding.
They will remember. They will remember. But comment below. Let us know. And if you have an idea for you want us to draw next, comment that as well. And we'll throw it in the hat. We might pick it.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll probably throw it in the hat. It depends. Like, I'm not drawing. I don't know.
Yeah, no,
it has to go through our approval.
Inappropriate.
Yeah, nothing too bad. Something that matches what we have so far. I should say that. Yeah. But I think this has been a lovely Daycast. It's been good podcasting with you. Yes. And
for those of you who like our art, visit danicadaydreams.ca so you can buy a shirt like this or like that.
Or like this. And for those of you who are watching this and go, wow, this is great. I can't wait to watch another full episode. Every single Friday, unless if we get sick or don't want to do it 1 week, but we've been pretty consistent. Every Friday on Facebook and YouTube. Check it out. And if you just want to see us in shorter, fun little bits, check out TikTok. Just Danica Daydreams on TikTok. I always say it's the best way to watch us, but we like to give you options. And this has been it. We've already shook hands, so we've already ended this with great respect. And Monica, I don't know what do I say? How do I end this? How do I? Goodbye.
We will miss you.
Goodbye. I miss you already. What?